Just 2 weeks from decision day in the USL Championship, and on a day where we had 8 matches across the league, this right here may well be the most important. It's the Oakland Roots hosting Phoenix Rising from Pioneer Stadium in Hayward, California. Happy to have you with us this evening alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. Phoenix Rising right now precariously perched in 8th place. Oakland not too far ahead in 6th, but both teams could clinch a spot tonight if San Antonio goes on to lose against Colorado Springs. That game is happening right now. And Ricky, this Oakland team finally last week snapped what was a 4-game losing skid with their 1-1 draw against Memphis 901.
I had a conversation with Gavin Glinton, and not an easy place to play at Memphis 901. In Memphis, the field is a little bit different, but yet you go down early and you find a way to galvanize the troops and find a result. You look for this Oakland Roots side. How do you grow on that performance? Because he was actually very pleased, especially in the second half. They get on the ball, they score a goal through Camden Riley. So now, what does the reaction look like here at home against Phoenix Rising? Big 3 points for the Roots up for the grabs.
And warm-ups tonight are brought to you by UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals. It's got to be a bigger night from Rafael Baca in the midfield for the Roots.
I think his experience needs to be at the forefront for this Oakland Roots side. How good can he be on the ball, calming the game down and playing at the speed that the Oakland Roots want to play at, move the ball from left to right. If he's on the ball early and often for Gavin Glinton and the Oakland Roots, it's going to be a really good night for the home side.
Now, Phoenix Rising come in with the confidence of having just beaten the #1 team in the Western Conference.
Surprising for a lot of players over and people in the USL Championship, because you go into the lab where New Mexico has been dominant and you found a way to get a result. Angel gets on the end of it from a pen, and then Charlie Dennis, who we will see tonight, who we actually played for the Oakland Roots, they galvanized 3 points at the death. So now if you're Diego Gomez, you're looking at this game and saying, look, we had to carry this momentum, especially here on the road in Oakland.
You mentioned Charlie Dennis played for the Roots. So too did our player to watch on the Phoenix side, and Dariush Formella. It's a lot of former Roots on this Rising team, and Formella leads the way among that group with 6 goals.
And he can give you different looks. He can play centrally, he can play on the left-hand side, but he has the ability to combine and be a game changer for Phoenix Rising. I do think, how quickly can he get up to tempo, and what does this reaction look like for Formella? If he's on the ball for Phoenix Rising, it's going to be a really good night for the visiting side.
It's going to be a really fun night here in Pioneer Stadium because it is Pixar night. It is a sold-out crowd. It is the Oakland Roots against Phoenix Rising, and it's a massive one. Both could potentially clinch a playoff spot tonight. We'll find out over the course of the next 90 minutes.
The only way to win is to do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots have teamed up. We are leading the charge to address food insecurity, empowering all athletes to improve physical health, and expanding the health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. You find diamonds in the rust to put your own stamp on stock parts, turning metal into murals and detailing every detail. Because it's the things you make that show what you're made of. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross and Modelo. Take a look at tonight's starting lineups for both sides. It's Dom Dwyer getting the start for Gavin Glinton.
Now, what does his relationship look like with Johnny Rodriguez, who will play to the right-hand side of him? Trayvon Reed, you want him to be as high and wide as possible, to be vertical, to be isolated with his individual markers. So then now that leaves Gomez and Baca. What does that relationship look like? Baca might pop in a little bit deeper. Look for him to dictate tempo. And how good can Njai and Diaz be at joining the attack That back three needs to stay compact and keeping everything in front of them. As for Phoenix Rising and Diego Gomez, a team that got a fantastic result at New Mexico, you don't change a lot, but Cuello on the left-hand side, Rito, how wide can they be and expansive? Because in order to do that, now you get Charlie Dennis, Formella, and Zambrano to fill in the gaps underneath Angel. What does Angel look like? You want him to say hi. You want him to occupy the center back. And Fomayor, Boyd, and Wyke, I think they're very underrated at their quality with the ball at their feet. Good starting 11 for Phoenix Rising.
And just as we were in commercial break, San Antonio scored a winner against Colorado Springs. We'll let you know what that means for our game in just a moment. It's Oakland right to left in the black, Phoenix left to right in the red. We are underway here in Hayward. Happy to have you with us this evening. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. Trayvon Reed looking ahead for Babacar and Jai, and Oakland very direct to start. A team that struggled going into that game last week against Memphis. They were winless in 4 games, held scoreless in all 4 of those games. But baby steps last week against Memphis to maybe get back on the right path. Similar story for Phoenix. They hit a bit of a slump, get that big win over New Mexico. So 2 teams that maybe have the arrow pointing back up tonight, facing off. Crowd tonight. A reported sellout for the Roots. Again, it's Pixar night. These fans have had a great time. Pixar as a company, big ties to the Bay Area, and Roots players this week got to get a tour of the facilities and all that came with that. So it's been a fun week for the Roots, and they're hoping to put the exclamation point on it with a victory here tonight. We just did receive word. It did go final between San Antonio and Colorado Springs. So what that means for our game tonight is neither of these teams can actually clinch a playoff spot here tonight. We phrased it the way we did at the top of the broadcast because we knew there was a chance Colorado Springs and San Antonio would go final during our first commercial break. Sure enough, San Antonio finds a winner. If they did not find that winner, either Oakland or Phoenix with a win would have clinched here tonight. A draw, and they both would have had to continue on without a clinch spot yet. But if San Antonio would have lost or tied, as that game was 1-1 late in stoppage time, then a win for either of these teams would have meant clinching. Not the case anymore. So no clinch possible tonight. We learned that a couple of minutes ago between Oakland and Phoenix, but still a massive game for the standings.
Joe Solignac, you can thank him for the drama, scoring in the 90+9 in Colorado Springs, but the message for Diego Gomez and Gavin Glinton is going to be the same to every single player on this field. You just worry about what's onto the field tonight. You take care of business, a massive 3 points, and continue to push up this Western Conference. Massive game here for both of these clubs. You talked about it, Joe. Phoenix Rising coming off a dramatic win at New Mexico. So now you have some confidence for Diego Gomez. And for Gavin Glinton, he said, how do we emulate that second part of the game at Memphis where they are very good on the ball? See if that rolls over here at home.
So as you saw there, it's now San Antonio on 38 points. Phoenix and Oakland currently each pick up a point in the live table. Oakland in 6th on 42. Phoenix in 7th on 40. Orange County on 39. San Antonio now on 38. So they still very much have life. That's how it's going to be this week, next week, and the week after on Decision Day. It's going to happen thick and fast. At one moment, you think this could happen. Another moment, that happens. Literally during our first commercial break, we had that change between San Antonio and Colorado Springs, and it completely changed the meaning of our game here tonight. Played in behind, looking for Angel. Off now by Gagi. Here's Gomez. hosting a lot of the faces on the Phoenix Rising side that are familiar to these Oakland fans who were here either a year ago, 2 years ago, brought over to Phoenix from head coach Juan Guerra. Here's one of those players, Eduardo Rito, barreling in. And it's Paul Blanchette who has it. But you go down the starting 11, Derek Formella, Charlie Dennis, Eduardo Rito, Alejandro Fuenmayor, all starters for Phoenix, all starters in the last couple of years for the Roots, and going to the bench as well with Jose Hernandez. So there's a lot of crossover between these two teams. And it's all stemming from that in-season trade, if you will, a couple of years ago where Juan Guerra went from the Roots to Phoenix and won Phoenix the trophy last year, put that star above the crest. Quaisho, Zambrano. Our boy, on for Lawrence White. Johnny Rodriguez, curious to see how he works tonight with Dom Dwyer. That's for the most part, as Rodriguez goes down, that is for the most part, Ricky, been an either-or proposition. One starts, one replaces the other. It's varied who starts, who comes in for the other, but it's been rare that they played together.
I think we've seen Johnny Rodriguez can show different looks in his positioning. Right? So many times we've seen him play as a lone striker with his back to goal, the ability to bring players in, but I think he's actually better when he's facing the goal, because now he gives the ability to go and search the game and have that combination play that we've seen through Johnny Rodriguez's time with the Oakland Roots. So how good can he be at playing off of Dom Dwyer, whether it's dropping in a little bit deeper, but also running in beyond. Johnny Rodriguez, a player, 10 goals this season. He can be that difference for the Oakland Roots as we approach playoff time.
Poor clearance effort from White. Conversation with Gavin Glinton, an interesting one as it pertains to this Oakland Roots attack. He feels they're a tweak away, a play away, just clicking and getting back to that team that nobody would want to play come playoff time, because we've seen them beat New Mexico, we've seen them beat Louisville, they've beaten the top teams, they beat Sacramento, you name it, top team in this league, they've beaten them or competed with them here in 2024, but they've also had their low lows in this season, namely that 4-game losing streak before that Memphis tie. Again, not scoring in any of those 4 games. It's interesting back and forth between wanting to keep some rhythm and continuity, but also switching things up. Here's Angel trying to sneak in behind, a misplay by Hackshaw. Almost led Angel through, and it's a corner coming.
I think the only thing that you can point out for this Oakland Roots side is you're just looking for consistency in performances. You do not want to get, like you said, too high or too low. A team that's going to be good in the back, but also have players to express themselves higher up the field. And you're talking about a player that can be the difference, Charlie Dennis. He's been a fantastic acquisition for Phoenix Rising since coming over from Tampa Bay. Quality in terms of his service and the ink swinger to test Paul Blanchette.
There is the in-swinger at the back post, and it's headed away by Hackshaw. Jai trying to shield it, kept in play, good hustle from Phoenix. Another ball carved in toward Dennis, and it's off target from the former Oakland Root, Charlie Dennis. Tonight's injury report brought to you by UCSF Health. It is a clean bill of health on the Phoenix Rising side, and just Niall Logue reported for the Oakland Roots. Nice to see this late in the year, a mostly clean bill on both sides. Good hustle play from Trayvon Reed. He's shown moments this year where he could be that spark for Oakland. Cutting in, Reed comes out to Baca. Slip on the turf. As Formella trying to backtrack out to Gagi. Gomez carving it back post over the head of Dom Dwyer. A midfield pairing of Daniel Gomez and Rafael Baca. So trying to get going ever since Baca came in. Touched on it in the open, Ricky. It hasn't fully clicked yet with Baca. You know what he can bring from his time in Liga MX with Cruz Azul and last year into this year with Monterrey Bay. Just hasn't shown that full potential yet with the Oakland Roots.
And you would expect that, right? The last thing to come is the game sharpness and game fitness for Rafael Baca. You want him to be a little bit deeper, to be that deep-lying playmaker for the Oakland Roots. And you lean on his experience. A player that has played at the biggest of stage in his career. So now if you're Danny Gomez, how do you learn from him? And also the balance, right? You want Gomez to go and search a game. He has more of an attacking side in terms of his qualities, so the combination factor with him, Trayvon Reed, Johnny Rodriguez, all going to be crucial to the Roots.
You're right in my shot.
Recovery from Renzo Zambrano. So instrumental to this rising side in the midfield. Playing in behind. It's for Angel. The flag did come up. Slotted it home, and he's showing signs of danger tonight, but the flag keeps this one from counting.
He's a really clever striker with his movement. Can pop in, but can also, I'll tell you what, it is tight, but I do think our assistant referee gets the right decision, about a half of a yard offside. But if you're Camden Riley and Hackshaw, communication at passing players off, you cannot get beat that easily if you're the Oakland Roots.
Baca. Floats one for Diaz. Memo Diaz, end line, shoved off the ball cleanly. Chance to mention it yet, but Patrick Rakowski making his first start this season in goal for Phoenix Rising. Has had a couple of appearances in US Open Cup, but it's been a rocky recent stretch for Rocco Rios Novo in goal for Phoenix Rising. Rakowski, very capable number 2. A lot of teams in this league, he's the number 1, you'd imagine. He was a goalkeeper in 2021 when Orange County won the whole thing. Cleanly won by Rodriguez. Pushes through for Dom Dwyer. Dwyer. Back for Baca. Reed. Feeds Njai. Nice give and go between Reed and Njai. Trying to slip it through for Gomez. Already more positive signs in the attack tonight for the Roots. That connectivity in and around the 18, that's something we've seen in the last few matches.
A lot more aggressive as well in the way that they've approached this game. Oh, it's only Hackshaw in their defensive half, so that tells you they want to repress, they want to win the ball over or win the ball back as quickly as possible for the Oakland Roots. So on their side now, if you're Phoenix Rising, right decision making, how clean can you be when you do recover the ball? You have to look beyond the initial line of pressure into Angel, into Charlie Dennis, and players like this that can be the outlet.
Baca. I think Dwyer would have been off. Angel. An absolute spitting image of his father, Juan Pablo Angel. Those of you who might still be new to Tomas Angel, since his loan spell for Phoenix Rising began, now 12 starts, 2 goals, son of Juan Pablo Angel, formerly a star in the English Premier League, and then over to MLS with the New York Red Bulls. Currently on loan, Angel from LAFC. Joined on August 2nd after the acquisition of Olivier Giroud for LAFC. Just not enough space there for the young Angel to thrive and get playing time. He's been a regular starter, an impact player for Phoenix ever since. Rito commits the foul.
There's decisions like that. There's no need to play Rito this ball because Camden Riley is about a yard or 2 off of him. Mookie recovers the ball, closes down the space, and now Rito results in drawing a foul.
Diaz and Njai stand over it. Scored on a set piece last week. This one whipped in dangerously into Riley over the bar. He was the one who scored last week against Memphis. Came off of a corner.
It's a fantastic ball from Njai, bending into the path of Camden Riley, and he just needs to run onto it. Tries to do too much. You do not need to hit it hard. Just let it hit your foot. Make sure your body's over the ball so it can never rise over the crossbar. That type of ball, that placement where Njai puts this ball is a nightmare for Phoenix Rising because they have to be aware of the runs, the timing, and the location in their defensive 18-yard box where they are. Close opportunity for Oakland to draw the first goal here.
Well advised header back from Hackshaw, but fortunate the backspin set it up nicely for Riley after Angel overran it. Riley brought down by Lawrence White. He's been a mainstay this year on that back line for Phoenix. Pairing on the center backs between Boy and White. It's really been rock solid for Phoenix Rising. As they've played in times as a back three, the third member of that back line has varied at times, but Hotmar Boy, Lawrence White, starting 26 and 27 games respectively, have been a very solid duo. Trayvon Reed pulled the jersey over his eyes and went down on his own volition. This injury timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Look at what happened for Trey Wright, all blasted in the face with the ball. There is no shielding yourself from that. No time to react. Took it off the chin. Well, it is Pixar night here at Pioneer Stadium, so in the wise words of Finding Nemo, he's just gonna have to keep swimming here. Looks like he's gonna get right back out there, and Trayvon Reed back on the field.
That was good, Joe. That's a good one.
Try, sometimes. Not a dad yet, but those dad jokes can flow at times. You seen the whole Pixar catalog or no?
Saying individual movies?
Yeah, that what the catalog would mean.
I've seen a handful of them, not all of them.
Okay.
You?
Only one I think I'm missing is Elemental, was a recent one.
That's impressive.
I have seen the rest of them.
Favorite?
Favorite? Ooh.
Some good ones.
So Soul is a deep cut. That was really made for adults more than it was kids, I think. But outside of that, Toy Story 3 is a classic, can't go wrong. I think that was the best of the Toy Story bunch, Toy Story 3.
Put that over The Incredibles, Finding Nemo.
That's what best means, yeah.
Questioning your judgment here. Monsters, Inc.
I mean, the thing that you should know is that, I mean, Pixar doesn't really miss, so they're all great. It's just splitting hairs, but everybody's got a favorite. Johnny Rodriguez on the turn. You still don't give me your favorite.
I have a favorite. I like all of them.
That's a cop-out.
I mean, The Incredibles, you can't go wrong there. Finding Nemo, Monsters, Inc. Are you kidding me?
Now you're just reading. Now you're just reading. Oakland Roots announced that the team will play their 2025 USL Championship season in the historic Oakland Coliseum. Place a deposit now for as low as $5.10. Visit OaklandRootsSC.com today to learn more and make your deposit.
I got one for you, Up. That's a great one.
Up is fantastic.
Yeah.
The saddest opening to a movie of all time, but fantastic movie.
I didn't know you're such a movie critic.
There you go. Balloons from Up on cue. End-to-end start between Phoenix and Oakland. Settled down over the last 5-10 minutes. Quajo. Free kick coming for Rising.
Phoenix Rising just so patient when they're on the ball. Not very often do you see them try to overcomplicate things. Shift the ball from left to right, try to be expansive in their nature to open up gaps for those players centrally to influence the game. So for the Oakland Roots, how tight can your lines be? Something that Gavin Glinton is going to want to implement here.
Inside lunges in, Gomez comes away with it. Rodriguez, Baca. Now Reed. Trayvon Reed cuts in. Just too much on it for Gomez.
Also just a bit casual from Trayvon Reed. If you do elect to win this ball, your first pass needs to be forward, but Dom Dwyer needs to be a little bit more mobile as well.
Rito, oh, that would have been perfectly in the path of Angel, but Turf Monster got him. You wonder if it was overwatered or if it's just tonight maybe the atmosphere. It seems like players are slipping and sliding on this slick turf so far. White. Rito slots it through. Dennis. White gives it away. Just been lapses in focus at times. Really early going from both sides. You wonder if they were communicated yet, these teams. The result not happened in Colorado Springs. San Antonio late on was down 1-0 against the Switchbacks. Tied it late, won it even later. 90+9 in a game where only 5 minutes of stoppage time were given, but there was a lot of stoppage within stoppage time to get to that 90+9 winner. And what that meant was neither of these teams could clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight. Had that ended as a tie or a San Antonio win, or rather a Colorado Springs win, excuse me, a tie or a Switchbacks win, and both of these teams could have possibly clinched a playoff spot with a win tonight. That goes out the window. The soonest they'd be able to clinch is next week. Flag stays down here, taken off the chest by Memo Diaz down the right side. Hung up there forever. Now the other way for Rito. We know he could push the tempo. Rito, another slip. This time it's Njai. Rito through the wickets of Riley, but gives it to Blanchette. Formella being booed by his former home crowd. Played in toward Angel. It's interesting, only Formella's been booed among the former Oakland Roots. White. Try from distance by Dennis. Paul Blanchett has probably seen that a number of times on the training ground.
Just a bit casual from the Oakland Roots on the defensive side of the ball as well. Someone needs to step out and close the space. Baca, Johnny Rodriguez, very slow. Fortunate for Paul Blanchett, straight at him. Charlie Dennis has shown his quality to pull up from distance and really put goalkeepers under some pressure.
Rakowski has it. Don't miss out on the final home stretch of games as we close out the season on a playoff push. Pick up one of our discounted ticket packages, whether you want food and beverage included for one game, or you're looking to go to multiple games. Secure your tickets now. Visit us at oaklandrootssc.com/tickets. Call 510-488-1144.
The second time now that Rito has got the better of Venjai. So if there is no pressure on the ball, Venjai needs to drop off and give a little bit of a buffer because Rito has him for pace, and you don't say that very often. Also, Camden Riley needs to be aware that he needs to provide some coverage and shift over quicker.
Venjai came to the Roots from Phoenix in a player swap that sent Formella to Rising. Rito took a different route from Oakland to Phoenix, was traded to Hartford, and then signed here as a free agent. Dennis, similar trajectory, was sent in a swap from Oakland to Tampa Bay, and then from Tampa Bay to Phoenix. Mayor signed immediately as a free agent. First season after Wangera had moved from Oakland to Phoenix. Look at all those former Roots in the 11 tonight for Phoenix. Could see Jose Hernandez off the bench fitting that bill as well. Here's Dennis. Outside of the boot toward Angel. Still sitting there. Angel jumps and it's touched over the bar by Blanchett.
Clever ball from Formella. This is just pure timing from Angel. Axel slow to react, but look how quickly he leaps, meets the ball at its highest level. There is an argument for the right elbow that catches Hackshaw as he's falling. I don't think there's any ill will. What an opportunity and what an effort from Angel to try to catch Paul Blanchett off of his line. It's a big difference that you can see a player waiting for the ball to drop versus a player going up and getting it.
Hackshaw, the centerpiece of this Oakland back line. He was asked earlier in the year to step up into the midfield. Now drop back to his more natural spot on that back line. USL first team in 2019, second team in 2020. A regular for Trinidad and Tobago. It's part of their Nations League team back in March of the quarterfinal against Canada. Third corner for Phoenix. Taken short. Back where it came from. Driven ball in. And Rodriguez heads it clear. Back in the air by Zambrano. Rather, Doradiotto, excuse me. Through there. Don Dwyer, he is just a pest for any opposing back line. 34-year-old knows a thing or two about being tough to handle as a striker. '85 goals in his MLS career, Dom Dwyer. capped by the U.S. men's national team. Former number 16 draft pick in the 2012 draft by Sporting Kansas City. Signed this year with the Roots. It's just his 4th start tonight, 13th appearance. Only the 1 goal. It was that winner in the 1-0 victory over New Mexico. Gagi, long run for Diaz, does get there. Kept in by Diaz, centered over the head of Rodriguez. Good effort from Memo Diaz to keep it alive, and it nearly paid off.
One of the unsung heroes for the Oakland Roots, Memo Diaz, 7 assists on the season. His work rate, but also his decision-making, when to step off of his line and be a little bit more aggressive. Fantastic athletic ability, and also the quality to create a little bit of space. In the end, just too close to Rakowski. How good has Memo Diaz been over the years for the Oakland Roots?
Angel. Diaz stumbles, gives Formella a chance to latch on. Formella wins another corner. Check out all the exciting postseason action as the USL playoffs presented by Terminix kick off in November. Top teams will battle it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLChampionship.com for all the latest playoff information. Rayoto's corner. Foul goes against an overzealous Alejandro Fuenmayor. Update from elsewhere, it's still 1-1 between FC Tulsa and New Mexico United. They're apparently 105 minutes into it now. A very lengthy stretch of stoppage time has not yet gone final. That game important to both of these teams. As it stands, both Oakland and Phoenix would be happy to see Tulsa drop points and only pick up a draw against New Mexico. Here's Dwyer with Rodriguez. He's taken down. Somehow still the ball at his feet. Trying to switch it for Reed. Well, to keep it in. Back for Njai. Slip through for Baca. Rafael Baca. Reed blocked. A lot of space here for Phoenix. Something could be on. 4v4. A lot of space. And it's the man you want on the ball right now. Not the result they were looking for. Blanchett thought he was going to be pressured, so he rushed it. He didn't really have to.
You talk about the relationships. Look at Baca and Gomez making the same exact run. Both of those players cannot do that, because now if Phoenix Rising have the ability to recover the ball, which they do, look at that massive gap going back the other way. It's little things like that that the relationship starts to form as one goes. Most times it's going to be Gomez. Baca needs to stay at home. Fortunate, Rodioto is a little bit slow to play this ball into Rizzo, but little things like that cannot happen so deep into a season.
referee, Matthew Corrigan, got involved. And drop ball here for Phoenix. Tom Dwyer does not want to give the space on this drop ball. He's beckoned back by Matthew Corrigan, and we're back to it. Dennis. Phoenix rising side under Diego Gomez has looked different than it did earlier in the year under Danny Stone, who's gone on now to Orange County and has led them into a playoff spot. There's Riley. Trayvon Reed trying to beat Wyke with speed. Wyke shoulders him off. Well done by the center back.
Really well done from Lawrence Wyke. Not easy to go 1v1 versus Trayvon Reed with that amount of green grass around you. I do think if you are the Oakland Roots defending, you stay compact in your structure, and then when you recover the ball, you're looking for Trayvon Reed, you're looking for Njai and Tom Dwyer to break really quickly. Play the ball in beyond this high line of Phoenix Rising. That will be your best bet to find the opening goal in transitional moments.
A lot of time on the ball now for Phoenix. Dominating the possession 60-40. Stranglehold on the ball's really come in the last 10-15 minutes. Another giveaway by Oakland. That's helped Phoenix really control the ball. Oakland trying to break out. It's Baca running through the middle. It's Reed who ends up with the ball. Dwyer wants it back on the far side. Reed tried to thread the needle on the ground. Recovered by Diaz. Goes in awkwardly, Diaz. Free kick coming for Phoenix and a yellow card to boot from Memo Diaz.
Comes in very aggressively. Memo Diaz tries to recover from his mistake, because he does quite well to win this initial ball, but the heavy touch and the follow through catches Charlie Dennis on his standing leg. Always going to get you into the book.
Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches including the championship final will be available in Spanish throughout the rest of the season. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Foot race here between Rito and Blanchette after that awkward header back. Right hand raise, an apology from Njai. I think Blanchette will be forgiving, but he doesn't seem very happy. Won't tell you what he just said by reading his lips. It is USL After Dark, but we would still get in trouble. Riley over the top looking for Reed. Rakowski. It's interesting that Phoenix hasn't really gone back to Rakowski much in possession. That's an area of Rocco Rio's Novo game where he's a little more comfortable. They do incorporate him in the build-out and the possession. That's not in Rakowski's bag.
I also think tactically plays a hand in it as well. Because sometimes when Rios Novo is inside, in between the sticks, they build out in a 3-back system, right? But you have wing backs with Rito Cuejo. Now you're playing 4 across the back with Zambrano's that single pivot. So now you do have options. So you don't really need Rakowski to push off of his line and be on the ball a little bit more. Good turn.
Dwyer stumbled over the ball in the end. Dennis. Such a creative playmaker. Comes from Tampa Bay to Phoenix mid-season. Here's Dennis again at the end line, and he wins a corner. Sneaky when he cuts to that left side of the field. They like to have him on the right side. Inverted players so he can cut in on that left foot, but there's always that threat when he does cross the field that he can get that cross in first time, and he wins a corner because of it.
One thing that we've seen from Phoenix Rising is how balanced they are in terms of the prominent foot. On that far side, Cuejo, Dennis. On this near side, Rito, Zambrano. Too many players on Hell as well. A mixture of both. June in numerous of different ways. Phoenix Rising.
And again, ball out there for the corner to be taken. At least that's how it works last time I checked the rules.
You are correct, Joe.
Thought so. Corner ballooned in toward that back post. It's just beyond. Otmar Boy trying to lean into it, knot it down for a goal kick. Now it's Njai who's down. A few Roots players down, trying to shake some things off in this first half. Nothing too serious. Everybody able to continue, no issues. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Two shots on target for Phoenix Rising. No shots on target for Oakland. We do have a final between Tulsa and New Mexico. Finishes 1-1. So Tulsa picks up an important point in this playoff push. Still lingering in the vicinity of the likes of San Antonio and Orange County. Reminder again what the standings look like. Tulsa now 3 back of San Antonio. Orange County sitting in 8th. Phoenix, the point they have right now in the live table because of this 0-0 score line, up to 7th. Oakland just above them with 42 points. We could try to make heads or tails of it, but we know, Ricky, it's going to come down to decision day 2 weeks from now. I think that writing has been on the wall for quite some time.
Exactly what we want for a neutral. Every single game in the regular season will count.
Just over the head of Rodriguez. That's been the case for Oakland over the last month and a half now. Just fine-tuning things in the final third. Yes, they got the goal on a set piece last match against Memphis in the 1-1 draw. But Ricky, again, before that, 4 straight games without a goal, 4 losses. You had to go back to the New Mexico win at the end of August, that 1-0 victory, the last time they had scored a goal, Oakland. So we're going to see some more of that tonight without a shot on target still, lacking creativity in the attack. But now it's Phoenix looking to get one of their own and out for a goal kick.
Just seems you can make the argument for both of these clubs that it's just asking for someone to produce some magic. They're never going to beat you through combination play, quick movement, no pocket presence. I mean, you look at Phoenix Rising, Charlie Dennis, Sar Formella underneath on Hell. No one is a true number 10. Dorotioto as well. Probably one of the 2 players that can beat you 1v1. But if for the Oakland Roots, Johnny Rodriguez, very quiet through 46 minutes here. You need him on the ball off the shoulder of Zambrano, because we had the chance to speak with Gavin Clinton, and he said as they play as a single pivot, the area around Zambrano off of both of his shoulders is a space that you can exploit. So Trayvon Reed comes a little bit more narrow. Enjai has the freedom to come around the corner. And Johnny Rodriguez as well needs to go and search the game. Very quiet from this star for the Oakland Roots.
Rodriguez, 10 goals on the season. Last week, Sinistera started in place of Dom Dwyer. That's the only change on the top line here tonight. Fed through to Trayvon Reed. Cutting inside, Reed flares it to the back post. Waiting is Rodriguez. Johnny takes it down, looking for Dwyer. Almost trickles through, but it's in the arms of Rakowski.
How many times have we seen Trayvon Reed get into this area of the field? Quite well, uses the momentum to his favor, but you want him to be a little bit more selfish. Take that second touch towards goal. It's a really difficult task for Johnny Rodriguez, crashing towards that far post with so much air underneath it to generate enough power to test Rakowski.
Final minute of this first half. Bear in mind that Phoenix doesn't really have a lot to turn to on the bench tonight. Mo Traore, your option on the back line. Jose Hernandez and JP Skierce in the midfield. Fede Varela as an attacking piece. And it's 2 academy players who make the roster for tonight. So only among the outfield players 4 professional contracts among the outfield players to turn to.
Haven't really seen Angel get involved through the run and play as well. Just comes off of his movement.
First half comes and goes with the same scoreline that we started the night with, the sold-out crowd here in Hayward on Pixar night. And maybe we'll have a storybook finish in the second half, but still scoreless between the Roots and Rising.
Just seems a bit pedestrian-like for both of these clubs. Once they get to the final third, unable to find real-time solutions. So now it leans on the managers, Diego Gomez, Gavin Clinton. What buttons can you press to get the best out of your sides collectively, individually? Someone needs to make a play because 3 points are up for grabs.
These 2 teams thought possibly coming into the night that a win would get them into the postseason. Late drama that saw San Antonio upset Colorado Springs on the road changed that, but it's still a massive 3 points on the line between Oakland and Phoenix. Still 45 more minutes to decide things here in the Bay Area. Roots Rising 0-0 through 45.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It's your job to stock the city, restaurants and rooftops, bars and basements. Every corner store. And when it gets tough, you stay driven. Give it all you got, going nonstop for 20 stops. Because at the end of the day, every single round is on you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
At the break between Oakland and Phoenix, scoreless through the first 45 minutes. These two teams, again, thought coming into the night that a win could have gotten them into the postseason. That changed. So, Ricky, it'll have to wait until next week for these teams, pending results tonight, pending results elsewhere. But this is the road ahead in the final 2 weeks for both Oakland and Phoenix. It's a tough one on the road against Vegas, then back home against Birmingham. For Phoenix, home against Memphis, at Louisville. Two difficult roads ahead in the final 2 games.
For Gavin Ginton, you're going to the Las Vegas Lights. How good has Dana Sanchez and the Lights been at home? But then you welcome Tom Stone, who in the team is a bit up and down as well. They're looking for consistency because they do have the talent, but for Phoenix Rising, I think this is really difficult. Again, Stephen Glass and Memphis Line of One, who are still pushing to get that home playoff game, and then you're going to Lynn Family Stadium, which Lou City is almost unplayable, only losing one time in 2024. They just picked up another win against Tampa Bay Rowdies. So this 3 points, this next 45 minutes, really in crucial importance for Phoenix Rising.
The good thing maybe for Phoenix, silver lining, is Louisville is not going to have anything to play for in that final game. So maybe you do get a B squad counterpoint. Their B team probably finishes mid-table in the Eastern Conference. So still not going to be easy regardless for Phoenix Rising. We're back in just a moment with more from Hayward, California. Still 0-0 between the Roots and Rising.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked Bebidas.
Welcome to Do or Die. Welcome to stories that give meaning to it all. The juggernaut chasing history. The hero hoping for a Hollywood ending. The upstart determined to make the most of its shot at glory. Welcome to second guessing everything. Every coach's decision. Every referee's call. Every pass, shot, tackle, save. Because you know it all means more now. Welcome to the playoffs.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
closer and closer to the start of half number 2 here in the Bay Area. 0-0 between Oakland and Phoenix. Broader look around USL Championship with some news and notes. And Louisville City Player Shield winners, they backed it up. Their celebration tonight at home with a dramatic late win over the Tampa Bay Rowdies as well.
If you haven't seen Osuro Ordonez's goal, go out and watch an overhead kick at 90+7 for Blue City. And then Vegas, Dennis Sanchez, we talked about how good they've been. First time clinching a spot in the USL playoffs in their club's history. Hats off to Dennis Sanchez. They've been fantastic.
And there it was coming into the weekend. 7 teams could have clinched a playoff berth. Coming into the week, some that did. Colorado Springs did in the midweek. Memphis did today. You got Detroit City who did today, but still have to play for the coming week. And a look at the out-of-town scores brought to you by Visit Oakland. Get out on the town and visit Oakland to explore arts, culture, and world-class cuisine. The big one that sticks out for our game here was that San Antonio 2-1 over the Switchbacks.
Solignac, fantastic goal to give San Antonio 3 points, but also to keep them alive in this playoff hunt. But Hartford Athletic in North Carolina, 7 goals between the two of them. Danny Barrera turning back the clock. He gets a brace. Pittsburgh and Bob Lee, they needed that 3 points. They got the 3 points against Ben Pierman, and that is 2 goals they've conceded twice in running 2 games for Ben Pierman and Charleston Battery. And Memphis, they tied Sacramento Republic in Tennessee.
I know we're focused on the West tonight because you've got obviously Oakland in 6th and Phoenix in 7th and 2 points separating 7th and 9th. But you mentioned that Hartford, North Carolina game. In the East right now, you've got Pittsburgh in 7th on 42. You've got Hartford in 11th on 40. So from 7th down to 11th, 2 points separate. It is going to be wild in the Eastern Conference to finish things up over the next 2 weeks. And we could have a wild second half in store between Phoenix Rising and the Oakland Roots. Neither can officially clinch a playoff spot now tonight because of earlier results, but you can still take a massive stride toward achieving that goal if you find one of your own in the next 45 minutes. Oakland Phoenix second half on the way.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
The only way to win is to do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots have teamed up. We are leading the charge to address food insecurity, empowering all athletes to improve physical health, and expanding the health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. You find diamonds in the rust to put your own stamp on stock parts, turning metal into murals and detailing every detail. Because it's the things you make that show what you're made of. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
Up and away into half number 2. And tonight's broadcast is brought to you in part by Anthem Blue Cross and Modelo. A look back at highlights from half number 1 between Oakland and Phoenix. In that first half, Ricky, not too many chances for either side, just 3 combined shots on target. This was the best look for Oakland early on.
Camden Riley's going to want this opportunity back because Zenjai does everything right here. He bends it into the path of Camden Riley, and it's a comfortable height. You just need to run through it. Make sure your shoulders and your body is over the ball and just let it hit your foot. And if you do, it's 1-0 Oakland Roots, unless it goes up and over the bar. But yet Phoenix rising. Charlie Dennis, I thought he was quite active for the visiting side. Hits it well, but straight at Paul the Wall. You know, Paul the Wall, very secure hands. Pops it up to himself, like training in the Oakland area with that type of save from Paul Blanchette. But it was very back and forth. No team really flexing their muscle in around the 18-yard box. But look at the timing from Angel. As his ball pops out, he goes and attacks it. Hackshaw's waiting for the ball. That's the difference between the two. And as he's falling down, there is a little bit of an elbow, but I don't think there's any ill will, and catches Hackshaw. But what a save that is from Paul the Wall yet again.
These teams are just about set to take the field for half number 2. First, one more look at the standings. After today's results, we've got Memphis, who's also clinched the top 5 spots in the Western Conference. Not sorted out in terms of who slots in where, but 5 teams known. It's Oakland, who thought they could have maybe done it today as well and made it 6 teams qualified. Possibly the same thing could have been said about Phoenix, but San Antonio now on 38 points after their big win on the road late on over Colorado Springs. So it's anybody's guess how this all plays out. These next 45 minutes will go a long way in determining. You could have the Roots end up tied with Memphis on 45. You could have Phoenix leapfrogging the Roots. You could have a tie where it sits exactly as is, and now all of a sudden San Antonio with a win, and the next one goes as high as 7th. That's what you have over the next 2 weeks. High drama. Gonna have a lot of flip-flopping in games, between games, any midweeks to weekends. It's going to look different every time you turn around. Just a matter of which teams down the stretch here can fine-tune some of the finer details, and that's what was maybe lacking in the first half. There were moments, Ricky, where the first 45 minutes seemed sloppy from both teams. There was a lot of slipping on this field. Very slick turf tonight. A little bit of moisture down there. We'll see if that's something that becomes an issue in the second half as well.
You do get the feeling there is going to be 1 or 2 golden opportunities, but now who's going to be more clinical in critical moments? Composed in the final third. Who's going to make a play? And that's when you're asking Diego Gomez and Gavin Glinton, just tell one of those players and challenge them. Produce a little bit of magic, produce a little bit of individual brilliance, because the talent is there. Now you just need to execute.
No changes at the half from either side, and we're underway in half number 2. Phoenix right to left in the red, Oakland left to right in the black. Happy to have you with us this evening with former MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. Scoreless through 45. We'll see what the second half has in store. Look out, Rakowski out of the back. That's something we touched on in the first half. They tonight go to Rakowski instead of Rocco Rios Novo, who's had a couple of miscues in recent matches, but that's what you lose going from Rios Novo to Rakowski, the ability to play out of the back like that.
And you test him early and often here. If you are the Oakland Roots, you go at him, force him to play with his feet, make him feel uncomfortable. A play that has not had the most amount of game time as of late, so you test him and how quickly he can get up to tempo.
His shot stopping not in question at all. That's what he's the best at. Almost similar to Paul Blanchette down at the other end of the field, not noted for his ability with the feet. Diaz just caught between 2 minds. Was he going to settle it or hit it? Ends up skimming off his thigh and out for a goal kick.
And these are the balls that you dream about. As a wingback, come in across your body, you see it the whole way. And much like Camden Riley, you just let it hit your foot. Just swing through it. Will be too close in proximity for Rakowski to do anything with it. And Memo Diaz is going to want that action back.
Zambrano. Again, it's not a very deep bench tonight for Phoenix Rising. Only 4 outfield players on professional contracts and 2 academy players who made the trip. A lot of contact there, edge of the area, waved off by our referee, Matthew Corrigan. Carmelo went down a bit too easily for his liking. Possession heavily tilted in Phoenix's favor, but shots are the same. Slight shots on target edge for Phoenix. Best chance belonged to Oakland. Again, that one we showed you coming out of the break. Cam Riley off a set piece. Outside of that, nothing from the open run of play for Oakland that is threatened. It seems like it's set pieces or nothing right now for the Roots. Dwyer. If there's anybody who can change that, it's Dom Dwyer. And a handball goes against Dwyer. Timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Potmar Boy still down. Looked like the way he landed on his arm after that little challenge put in by Dom Dwyer. Just flexing out that right arm.
Physical battle between the two. Boy and Dom Dwyer.
More Boy, good to go. Terrific season last year at Clemson for Potmar Boy. Helped lead them to a national championship, anchoring a back line. It's funny, they asked him as a freshman when he was the last man in a back three, did that make him or anybody around him nervous? He said it might have, but luckily, I'm confident. So he plays with a lot of confidence back there, always has from the moment he stepped foot on the campus at Clemson. Decided to forego any Generation Adidas contract and the MLS draft, signed professionally here with Phoenix instead this year. And it's been a rock for them all season long. Back in for Baca. Same ball over to Diaz that he mistimed a moment ago. Gomez tried this one, and Reed turning through. This is a head injury here for Emil Cuecio. Referee immediately stopping play. The second half has really not been able to get a rhythm with a couple of injuries we've seen either. We're 6 minutes into this, but most of it has been stopped for different injuries.
Memo Diaz a bit slow to come up as well. Know what you want if you are Diego Gomez or Gavin Glinton, both managers.
Head collision between the two. Hopefully, they're okay to continue on. Widely important for the success on both sides of the ball, Cuello and Memo Diaz.
Ilya Alexeyev has really picked up his warm-up. Only one down there for Oakland with Diaz on the ground. Whole group right now warming up for Phoenix. Looks like Diaz is okay, and they just told Alexeyev that he can put an end to his dynamic warm-up. Go again after about another 2-minute break there. August 31st on this field, the last time Oakland enjoyed a victory. Boy comes away with it. To Formella. Whips a dangerous ball in. Gagi gets ahead to it. Formella wants it back. Doradiotto fed it that way. Kept in by Formella, cleared by Baca.
Just no real options for Phoenix Rising. They do quite well to get it into Formella on this near side, but it's only Angel versus the back three for the Oakland Roots. So that's when you need a weak-sided player, much like Rito. Great ball.
Played through, looking for Angel on the backside. It's a live still for Cuello. Emil Cuello, end line hesitates, chips at the header. Oh, brilliant! Cuello keeping it alive. Angel finishes it off, and Phoenix is ahead on the road.
Just mentioned you needed a weak-sided run to crash in the attacking 18-yard box. This ball comes across, and look at the composure from Cuello. Thinks he's gonna hit it right there, understands Memo Diaz goes down a bit too early, and now you're just looking for a bit of class. Tons of options for Cuello. Brings in Paul Blanchette, just needs to get it by him and lift it. Every single player for the Oakland Roots get caught ball watching on their heels, and that's when the attacking player is quick to react. Angel gets there before Hackshaw, before Njai.
Number 9.
Open goal, gets his third on the season, and gives Phoenix Rising a 1-0 lead here in Oakland.
It's his first from the open run of play. His first 2 goals for Phoenix came from the penalty spot. Tomas Angel has a goal in MLS this year in his time with LAFC before he came on loan. Phoenix, similar to last year, rounding into their best form later in the year. They've had some real poor blips on the radar mixed within that. You look at the loss they had on the road against Orange County, a couple of matches back, for example, but they followed that with a win on the road against number 1 New Mexico. Can they click? Can they get hot like they did at this time last year? On the flip side, is Oakland having some deja vu? Because last year, remember, you had a situation where they seemed like they were destined to make the playoffs without really sweating. But then they finished the season with a win, 8 losses, and 2 draws, and missed out. It's not quite that poor right now, but if this result holds, they'd be 1-5-3 in their last 9. Not quite the 1-8-2 of last year, but still 2 more games to possibly tack onto that. They could finish with a similar swoon, and as difficult as it still would be, could still miss the playoffs because of it.
Last part of this game is going to be really important for the personality for the Oakland Roots, because when you get so deep into a season, Joe, it's not about how well you can play, it's just being efficient, getting results, finding a way to grind out wins, to grind out draws. You go down early in the second half against Phoenix Rising. That was probably Phoenix Rising's first and really only opportunity to really test Paul Blanchette and the attacking third, and you concede. So now, if you're Gavin Glinton, what buttons do you press to galvanize the troops, to have them come together and show some character to try to get something out of this match?
Now what changes? Does Phoenix settle in deeper in the possession? Where do you turn if you're Oakland? You've been searching for answers for quite a while. You have to go back to that game against New Mexico, August 31st, a 1-0 win for their last goal from the open run of play. They broke the scoreless drought last week against Memphis, but it was off a corner. Granted, they could score on another set piece tonight. They don't have to score from the open run of play, but you're really asking a lot of questions right now about this Roots attack. You have to go again all the way back to August 31st, their last goal from the open run of play. Still pretty simple for the Roots as far as what they need to do to make the postseason. Well, that in a second. Here's Trayvon Reed. He just runs past the ball. The Roots have to pick up really at least 1 win or just hope for a situation where San Antonio drops points. Here's Formella cutting infield. Formella has it blocked. Blanchette has it, nudges into Charlie Dennis. If Oakland does lose their final 2 games, though, which is not out of the realm against Vegas and Birmingham, if they lose both of those, all San Antonio has to do is win 1, because San Antonio has the tiebreaker on the Oakland Roots. And you've got Orange County mixed in there as well with 39, but they have 3 games remaining. So what once seemed like a lock for the Roots, who were looking at having a home playoff game rather than just making the playoffs, now it's really getting nervous. And they bring off Dwyer to bring on Rasmussen.
It's been a really difficult string of games for Dom Dwyer in an Oakland Roots jersey. Yes, he gets that goal against New Mexico. Since that, unable to get any sort of rhythm. Now, this is a bit desperation from Gavin Glinton. Rasmussen, a wingback playing as a secondary striker. So you would imagine that the Oakland Roots will elect to play a little bit more direct, have him challenge for the initial ball, and just ask Johnny Rodriguez to live on scraps. So whether it's winning that second ball a little bit deeper, run in beyond, something we haven't seen from Gavin Glinton.
You're looking at number 14, right side of your screen, operating there on that top line. Diaz, brilliant first touch. Whips it in, looking for Rasmussen. Almost paid off immediately, and they do have a corner out of it. Njai served up the corner last week. Cam Riley headed home against Memphis to tie it at 1. They need something similar here. Njai overcooks this one.
Just look how this Oakland Roots side concedes, but if you're Njai first, it's a first mistake. You get too wide, you give Rito the inside track, and as this ball rotates over, just look at every single player in a black jersey. No one picks up on Hell. He's in the box. Goggy's getting caught ball watching. Hackshaw can't shift over. Baca or Gomez do not drop and get touch tight with him. It's an easy header for any single player in USL Championship. And again, the opening goal Phoenix Rising does.
Here's Rodriguez fending off the contact. And that one on its way to P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way. Not the moment that Trayvon Reed was looking for. Pixar Knight is going to have the smile dampened a bit here if the Roots cannot find a way. Community investment round is back. You can become a part owner of the Oakland Roots and Soul SC now by heading to wefunder.com/Oakland. Fans 18 and up can join the ownership group for as little as $100 today. Riley. Played in behind toward Diaz, almost snuck through. Diaz puts in a dangerous challenge. He's already on a yellow. Referee says it's clean. Rodriguez, Diaz, shout for a handball, said it's off the stomach. Still loose now for Rodriguez. Tried to go for goal, had it blocked. Even in their most dangerous moments of the evening so far tonight, the Roots haven't got anything on goal, but now they have a free kick in a dangerous spot. Wait for the free kick here for Oakland. I want to go back to the point we were making moments ago, Ricky, with Rasmussen going atop the line. It's interesting, we're not there every day, obviously, and we're not the head coach of the Oakland Roots. That's Gavin Glinton, but you and I have watched this team over the last couple of years through different coaches, from Juan Guerra to Noah Delgado to Gavin Glinton. And it's interesting the way that Gavin Glinton is using certain players positionally, and it's the same faces. It's different than the way those two previous coaches did. Just has a different assessment of certain players' strengths. Johnny Rodriguez, for example, was mostly used as a winger who came centrally. Now he's played as a lone striker. You go further on, and players like, before he departed the team recently, Lindo Mafeka was operating as a 10. Under this regime, made a winger. So a bunch of different guys. Trayvon Reed, Babakar, and Jai have been used differently. It's almost felt like a lot of trying to use square pegs and round holes at times for Gavin Glinton and the Roots. Nothing's really worked out over the last month and a half in the attack. Any button they push just hasn't yielded results.
And that's a challenge for a manager that takes over a team, because these are not the players that you most likely recruited, that you wanted to sign, right? So now you have to deal with things that that are really out of your control. But like you said, Joe, I mean, you look at Donaciano, we've seen him play as an attacking player as well, but this is a fantastic opportunity here.
It'll be Reed or Rasmussen. It is Reed, and it's over the bar. Another moment wasted for the Roots.
You look at the bench for the Oakland Roots, and Gavin Glinton, Mishnadi Sharif is on the bench, and he's a true striker. Is he dealing with an injury that we don't know about? That is obviously a possibility, but you elect to bring in Rasmussen, who has played throughout his career as a left back. Right, so there's so many different looks that you can go. Sinisterra is another attacking opportunity that can come on.
Even Sinisterra, in his time previously before he joined the Roots, when he was playing in Argentina and Bolivia, he was an out-and-out 9. And just when you see him, that big bulky build of his, he's a traditional stereotypical hold-up forward. Roots have been using him as a right winger, and that's just not his game. So again, it's just interesting knowing what we know about the players versus how Oakland's deploying them. It just seems like there's a disconnect there.
I tend to agree. You can even look at Hackshaw as well. We've seen him play essentially. Camden Riley play middle, right back, center back, all of the above. So there is a lot of different rotations that we've seen Gavin Glinton implement.
And we've heard him talk about how that's this team's superpower and strength, that it can be versatile and show different looks, but sometimes does it get to be paralysis by analysis, where you're overanalyzing who to put where in a given day instead of just letting them play in their natural positions. He's played in behind to Rodriguez, and out for a goal kick.
Watch out.
Extracurriculars here. We might see a red brandish. That looked like a punch was thrown by Rodriguez. Wow, if he doesn't get sent off, he could count his lucky stars. You're going to have the assistant referee come in. Matthew Corrigan had a good look. From what we saw, there's no VAR, remember, so this zoomed in angle different than the referee's vantage point. But watch here, Rodriguez, after he gets shoved down, to be fair, goes right to the face of Pat Marboy.
And there is contact. There's extension from Johnny Rodriguez. Just watch his right arm. Comes in right here and catches boy on his chin area. Credit to Rakowski as well, quick to pull him out and to not let him escalate the situation. But I agree with you, Joe. If Johnny Rodriguez does not see a card, let alone red, he has to be very thankful.
Seems like Matthew Corrigan is bringing Pat Marboy and Johnny Rodriguez together. Usually when this happens, it's going to be a yellow each way after a talking to. And as typically the case, yeah, whenever you get them both together like that after a long talking to, they're both going to get a yellow. And that's exactly what Matthew Corrigan does.
Also, you love to see Charlie Dennis coming over, making sure Johnny Rodriguez is okay. Former teammates, like we've mentioned throughout the broadcast. The difference between boys, little push out was the chest area. Johnny Rodriguez comes a little bit higher.
And that's exactly it. I mean, there's maybe we can spend some time arguing whether this should or shouldn't be the case, but contact to the chest, okay. Contact to the face, a no-no. Johnny Rodriguez may be lucky in the end that he didn't make better contact with what the intention was. So we continue on 11v11, although that seemed like it was in question for a moment. Brito. Angel was hesitant, still finds his way through to him. He can't do anything with it. Rasmussen. Trayvon Reed. Traore getting ready to come on now for Phoenix for help on the back end. Gagi with an awkward challenge from behind. And he's going to see yellow as well.
As we continue to go deeper into this game, Traore will come on for Dorotioto. Just talking about the Oakland Roots as well, and things start to sail out in the attacking third. You have to look at some time the players are underperforming, right? Johnny Rodriguez has 10 goals, but after that, it's only 2 apiece for a plethora of players. You need more productivity from players in that final third because the talent is there. It's just the numbers, the production has been lacking through this 2024 campaign for the Oakland Roots.
Can you put your finger on what went wrong? Because again, at the end of August, it was a team that had just recently beaten Louisville, had beaten #1 New Mexico, and then with the snap of your fingers, it went from a team that's in 3rd place and maybe a contender in the West to a team that hasn't won a game since then and hasn't scored a goal from the run of play since then either.
That's an interesting question, Joe. If I had the answer, I would not be sitting next to you. I'd be on the sideline.
I think if Gavin Glinton had that answer, we'd be having a different conversation too. It's just so bizarre the way things have turned for the Roots.
I do think looking at the most previous games, there's just no pocket presence, right? There's no one that plays in between the lines that can really draw in a center back and give that final quality of breaking that last line of defense, whether it's individually or whether it's through combination play. The play that comes to mind is Littleton Befeka. Obviously, he's parted ways with the Oakland Roots, and that's something that we have no real context about. But it seems like if the Oakland Roots are going to score, it comes from a set piece, it comes from a silly mistake from the opponents, but it also comes just from someone pulling something out of the air, producing a little bit of magic, which they do have the talent to do that, but there's just no real continuity that we've seen for the Oakland Roots as of late when it comes in and around that 18-yard box.
They're going to make a trio of changes to try and spark something here. Donaciano, Sinistera, and Nishneder Sheri entering for Trayvon Reed, Rafael Baca, and Daniel Gomez. So you're taking off 2 defensive midfielders and a winger for 2 strikers and a winger. So this is all out. Let's get a goal here from Gavin Glinton. Talked earlier about, you know, the combinations he's used on the top line. He's just throwing all 6 of his best top line guys out there at once now, barring Dom Dwyer, who came off already. The rest of them now out there together to see if something can work out.
Tells you about how important that this match is for the Oakland Roots, especially at home. They need to throw caution to the wind and grab a result anyway.
Yellow card to Tomas Angel. On the flip side, for this Phoenix Rising side, they've been almost equally difficult to figure out at times, Ricky, but it's come in spells where they've picked up results. There's been some times where, you know, they've let their guard down defensively, as you see why Angel picked up the yellow. Going back to that game against Orange County, they were out of sync. They lose on the road, but then they go on the road and they beat New Mexico. We know Phoenix to be a team that on their day can beat anybody, on their day can lose to anybody. And that makes for an interesting playoff team, because that team could just as easily be ousted in the first round as they could put a star above the crest.
And one thing that you can argue with Phoenix Rising, that they've had experience. They know what it's like to go into a deep playoff run, to grind out results when they're not playing their best. Put a star over their crest last season. So they do have players that know what it takes to be at the top of USL Championship when all is said is done. But you look at obviously the weapons as well. There's just so many looks that Diego Gomez can employ. Players that have the ability to be those game changers. Angel, Cuello, how massive was he in their playoff run last season? Charlie Dennis comes in. I mean, Rito, it's a bit different because it does seem like at any given day, there's someone that's going to put this Phoenix Rising team on their back. And I don't think if you're Gavin Glinton, the only player that you can look at
Diaz
to do something like that is Johnny Rodriguez, right?
It's interesting. Phoenix also a few key pieces that aren't available on the roster today as far as who did or didn't make the trip that also can make an impact. Damien Barker-John, who they signed recently, has scored and been dangerous. Gerald Margarita has come in and been really solid for them. They go beyond what they have available today. Remy Cabral, another one who has had a knock that has made him a week-to-week touch-and-go type of situation, but he's the leading scorer in the end for this Phoenix Rising side. So they, maybe you could argue, have more game changers available today when they're short-handed than the Roots do, and that's what the difference has been so far.
Their goal scorers are spread out over numerous of different players, and like I touched on, it's just Johnny Rodriguez, then the next player, and that is 2. Njai, Emden Riley, Alexiev, Lyndon Mefeka, Sherry Hackshaw. Look at these players that, again, lacking in the final third, and I think that ultimately is what we've seen from the Oakland Roots. And also you throw that with maybe a little bit of discipline and lack thereof in the back. The way they've conceded goals far too easily, it's a recipe for disaster.
A lot of ball watching, that's been the theme. There were 2 specific instances of ball watching on the 1 goal tonight. Seeing Cuello get that open, and then seeing Angel hand it home. Last game, the goal they conceded 4 minutes in against Memphis, a similar story. Players caught ball watching, and Memphis capitalized early on. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 Eastern, plus live matches from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more. Here's Cuello. Diaz clears. Still just a 1-goal game. A point would feel massive for the Roots. Reminder of the standings. Phoenix, with this result, if it holds, would climb up into 6th place after beginning the day in 8th. Phoenix would be 4 points clear of San Antonio, which means Phoenix could clinch a playoff spot as soon as next weekend, depending on how results go, their own plus San Antonio's. Oakland, all of a sudden, again, after seeming like a lock in what's been a roller coaster season. Early on, they were as low as 11th. Then they got as high as 2nd. Now they're fighting for their lives all of a sudden with 2 games to go. That's if they don't pick up a point here. A point changes a lot in the mind of the Roots. And it's mainly because San Antonio has the tiebreaker on them. So right now, you sit 3 points clear of San Antonio. It's obviously possible that San Antonio makes up those 3 points and they have the tiebreaker. You get to 4 points clear, then you're feeling a lot better if you're the Roots. Still not great, but you're a step closer. A 4-point lead with 2 games to go means you just win your next game and you're through. If you don't, you're leaving a lot more to chance. It's 3 points, again, tiebreaker goes San Antonio's way. For Phoenix, sitting here now in 6th place. I don't know if you want to be the team that gets matched up with Phoenix if they do make the playoffs. Right now it'd be Vegas in the live table. But they're a team that, again, they went on that run last year. They've picked up steam here this year and added key pieces. I think the rest of the Western Conference has been rooting for anything but Phoenix Rising making it into the postseason.
What a match that would be, by the way. Las Vegas Lights hosting Phoenix Rising. Sign me up.
Phoenix wants to sign up for an insurance goal here. On the right side, it's Rito. Eduardo Rito battling still. And Jai comes away with it. A heavy touch, almost gave it away, now does. Zambrano snuck through, flag stays down, contact there, waved off. Phoenix was certain that they'd have a chance from 12 yards out to make it a 2-0 game.
Gets caught square, Camden Riley. That gives Rito the ability to play off of his shoulder. There is a little bit of contact, but I do think Rito goes down far too easily. Would have been really harsh for Matthew Corrigan to point to 12 yards out. You can just tell by the lack of arguments from Ricardo Rito.
Jai. Oakland still with 1 shot on target. Came in the first half. That's it.
eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is here to free to play. Download now.
Rasmussen now in his more natural left wing back position after that last batch of Oakland subs tried to feed Rodriguez.
Great move.
How many of those balls played through have been close but no cigar for the Roots tonight, where just the tip of the cap to Phoenix, who are plugging those lanes and being alert to the ball being played. Injury timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. It's Riley, who is a bit shaken up still, but now seems good to go. Changing some words of the unpleasant kind, it appears, with Charlie Dennis. With a grin on their faces, but that doesn't always mean it's a positive conversation. You've been there, I'm sure, Ricky.
Always polite.
You smile through the sarcasm and the swear words that are maybe coming out of that smiling mouth.
No, never.
No, you're a saint. JP Skeers will replace Eduardo Rito. This could signal a shift into a back 4 now for Phoenix. Traore, Wyke, Pop Marboy, and Alejandro Fuenmayor, all four center backs by trade. Skiers, a big presence in the air, will sit right in front of them. Morito, as a wing back, will obviously come off, and Quajo will tuck inside. Trying to lock it down now. Four center backs back there. Diaz. He feeds it through. Rodriguez trying to flick it on. And they're getting it as close as they can, but then nothing coming from there for Oakland. Sinistera. Nobody home.
You need to be really smart now if you are the Oakland Roots at the way that you are approached the remaining.
Rodriguez over the top, looking for Cherie. A little bit of creativity almost produces the moment, and now a corner. They've been good on set pieces. Can they strike again? Supporters have been banging the drum all night, just waiting for a reason to erupt. Njai waiting for the okay. Corrigan still has not given that okay, and now he does. 84th minute, Njai, low, loose, contact, nothing doing. Phoenix breaking out, 3v2 brewing. Angel, pass took him a bit too far wide. Can he recover? He has tonight's lone goal. Angel forces it back to Skiers, back the other way. Better execution on that breakout. We could be talking about a 2-0 game that's on ice.
Starts with Renzo Zambrano making the wrong decision in terms of his timing. Once an Oakland Roots player steps out, that's when you play into the path of Angel to let him run onto it. Like you mentioned, Joe, sends him far too wide. That allows the Oakland Roots to get numbers back in their defensive structure. Just going back to that point that I was talking about, the Roots need to be really clever the way that you approach the remaining 6+ here. Because as Phoenix Rising is going to get every single player behind the ball, if you continue to put hopeful balls from a deep position, you're just playing into the hands of Boy, Fuenmayor, Traore, just to win the initial challenge. So the ball circulation really quick, make them shift and hope that you can get a blindsided run, but passes like this are just playing into the hands for the visiting side.
This would be 5 losses in the last 6, goalless in all 5 for Oakland. Last match was a 1-1 draw against Memphis. Their last win, end of August, 1-0 at home over New Mexico. Here we are, mid-October, 2 weeks from decision day. Roots have been sliding. Phoenix have been, pardon the pun, rising and sitting in 6th place. They might be the last team anybody wants to face in the Western Conference. Check that. I think San Antonio, if they get above the line, would be the last team anybody wants to face in the postseason. Rodriguez getting heated again. Remember, he's already on a yellow from his last spat with Pop Marboy. Doesn't seem like those two have smoothed things over. Graciano. Away as Embrano, recovered by Sinistera, kept his feet. He wanted a free kick in the end. He thought that the referee was playing advantage. Throw coming for the Roots. When they're down at this end, and Jai usually gears up for the long throw. And Rasmussen leaves it for him. Borrowing the cameraman's towel to wipe off the moisture.
Resourceful.
That's supposed to be a lens wipe, sir. So when this picture comes out smudgy, you know why. And Jai, the long toss. Cherie tried to flick it on. Memo Diaz lining it up, and it's right to Rakovsky. Not a bad hit from Diaz. Their first shot on target of the second half.
And I think Memo Diaz takes a little bit long because as his ball swipes, that's when you can hit it right here. But as you take that secondary touch horizontally, you close down the window, yet he does very well to get it back on target in the end, straight at Rakovsky.
Rasmussen, fronted by Wyke. Step over from Rasmussen. Rodriguez. Diaz. Memo Diaz back post! Off the post! Was it Rakovsky or the post? Either way, Mishnah Cherie denied an equalizer.
Initially, I thought Memo Diaz makes the wrong decision, but very well done. And it is that far post. Cherie's backtracking, so all he needs to do is get it on target, and Rakovsky has no chance.
Long throw from Njai. Flicked on and out for a goal kick. USL Championships on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golasso Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Minute. That was the best opportunity of the day for the Oakland Roots. Another service in. Oakland being more direct now, just trying to lump balls in. The likes of Cherie and Sinistera. They've released Cam Riley a bit further forward as well. Njai lets it fly. There will be 6 minutes of additional time at the tail end here. And Ricky, well, we have a moment here waiting for this goal kick. Let's circle back. We were talking about a moment ago between Phoenix and their form, and if San Antonio gets in, how dangerous they are. Who would you rather face less if you're sitting up there in the top 3 or 4 of the Western Conference? A Phoenix team that's putting it together, or a San Antonio team that has the momentum of sneaking in?
Phoenix. I would rather play San Antonio if I was a New Mexico, Sacramento, or Las Vegas Lights. I do think because you look at Phoenix defending, they're very stout. They've shown the ability to grind out clean sheets, and there's just too much talent in San Antonio. The way that Alan Marcina likes to play, they like to make the game very stop and start. Yes, they have experience, they have talent, but I do think with those teams at the top of the Western Conference with the ball on the ground, they can beat them through their play.
It's the last 2 title winners here in USL Championship. Phoenix defending champs, San Antonio in 2022. And coincidentally, the 3rd team in that mix right now, 8th place, Orange County, the 2021 champs. So the 3 most recent champs in USL Championship are going to be, or possibly could be, the 2 or 3 last teams in. 2 minutes gone of the 6. Another long throw coming, perhaps, for the Roots. No, Diaz will take it quickly this time. He won't wait for Njai. Denaciano back for Diaz. Perhaps this time they'll call Njai over, and they will. Again, the only way tonight that Phoenix could have clinched a playoff spot was with a win, a Tulsa loss or draw, which happened, and a San Antonio loss or draw, but they won dramatically late against the Switchbacks. So without that late San Antonio drama, if the Switchbacks held on to a 1-0 lead instead of dropping those points late, we'd be talking about Phoenix being 3 minutes away from clinching a playoff spot. Not the case. They'll have to wait until next week. But it would still be a massive 3 points if they can hold on. Rasmussen over everybody. How many times have we said or seen that tonight? Oakland getting into the final third and not finding another black jersey with the service.
It's just the quality is just not there. Hasn't been there for the Ilka Roots. Just too much weight because the decision is right. You have numbers inside the attacking 18-yard box, but now you have to give them a chance. Overhits it from Rasmussen, and all that opportunity plays into the hands of Phoenix Rising to slow the game down, take precious time off of the clock, get into their structure yet again.
Yellow for Dennis. Free kick for the Roots. 2.5 to play. Even just a tie again would be massive for the Roots. It would extend their winless run still to 6, but they'd feel more comfortable because they'd be 4 points clear of San Antonio instead of 3. And San Antonio has the tiebreaker, so you don't want to only be 3 points clear of a team that has the tiebreaker on you. Diaz, poor service. Didn't get it past the first man. They'll have a second bite at the apple. Better service this time. Phoenix still deals with it. Shots, Oakland. Only 2 on target. Long throw again from Njai. That hit off of Njai. Throw for Phoenix.
Fantastic work from Angel. Doing the dirty side of the ball as well. That's how you gain respect from your teammates, and it was really interesting looking at Thomas Angel, what he's been able to bring for Phoenix Rising. Has only played 12 times for Phoenix Rising in his career, yet he's scored 3 goals, so that would translate to being the second leading goal scorer if he played for the Oakland Roots. He's played half of the season, so that tells you the struggles for the Oakland Roots at finding the back of the net.
This could be it. Blanchette bringing it forward. Lofted in, headed away by Traore. Almost at the 6-minute mark. Phoenix trying to get it clear, but it's picked off. Sinistera. Riley. Canceled out defensively by Dennis. Riley wins it back. Is there one last chance for the Roots? Riley in behind, looking for Rodriguez, out of play, and that should do it. 6 minutes have come and gone. Phoenix just wants the whistle now. There'll be one last sub here. Might not mean anything. Formella coming off for Hernandez. continue on. There's still time for the Roots. 7 minutes have elapsed. 6 were given. Cherie pops it up. Hackshaw nods it down. Uncomfortable header away. Collision. It's a foul against Cherie. Diego Gomez says that's it, that's it. Nervous, Smallman still here for Phoenix, just waiting for that whistle. Where is it? 2 minutes beyond the 6. They're ready to celebrate. It wouldn't clinch the postseason yet, but they'd be awfully close. There is the final whistle. The defending champions come on the road, beat the Oakland Roots, and now Phoenix Rising sit in 6th place. They could clinch a playoff spot as soon as this week, and look out, getting on that run, finding their form late in the year as they did in 2023. Tomas Angel provides the winner tonight.
Deservingly so for Phoenix Rising. Stout in the back, they took their chance through Angel to get his 3rd on the season. But you look at this Phoenix Rising side, 3 points at New Mexico midweek, 3 points on the weekend here in Oakland Roots. Don't look now. Phoenix Rising might be peaking at the right time as playoffs are approaching.
And what you said, they're doing it on the road. Remember, this is a team who went their entire playoff run last year to that trophy on the road. So Phoenix, maybe deja vu. Final score brought to you by Anthem. It's Rising 1, Roots 0. We wrap it up in just a moment.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't mini adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Eating a balanced diet and being physically active are 2 of the most important things you can do to be healthy at any age. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins can help control your weight and prevent heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Regular exercise can help boost your mood, digestion, and sleep. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots encourage you to eat right and get active. For additional healthy tips, come visit us at oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
Final score brought to you by Anthem. It's Phoenix 1, Oakland 0. Diego Gomez's group comes on the road twice this week, at New Mexico, at Oakland, and they pick up a maximum 6 points heading home now. Take a look at the full-time stats. It was really all Phoenix all night for the most part.
They seemed like the team that needed and wanted the 3 points a little bit more, but if this ball finds it back in the net, it's a completely different match. Camden Riley, off of scoring at Memphis 901, you would think he'd be confident. He just needs to run through it and tries to do too much, goes up and over the crossbar, and this is just mistake after mistake for the Oakland Roots. Jai gets caught a little bit too wide, and every single player gets caught ball watching. Memo Diaz goes down far too early. Quajo says, thank you very much. Let me just round you and let me bring in Paul Blanchette. And as a goalie rotates over, now the responsibility is on the defensive unit. Someone needs to pick up a player in a red jersey. Gaga gets caught ball watching. Gomez does not track back. Baca gets caught a little bit high. Hackshaw can't rotate over. And frustration for the Oakland Roots, but jubilation for Phoenix Rising. They get the opening goal, and this was the best opportunity coming back the other way for Oakland Roots to salvage a point. Fantastic little clip ball for Memo Diaz and Cherie. If you put it anywhere else, it's in the back of the net. You have to head it back across where it came from, because Ronkowski, he's already has that near post covered. He's already shifting with the ball. So you're always taught to head it back across. Tries to head it down, gets denied by that far post, and Phoenix Rising pick up a fantastic 3 points to continue to push up the Western Conference.
So from here, Oakland visits Vegas next weekend, and Phoenix will host Memphis. So it'll be 5 versus 6 there. The magic number now for Phoenix Rising, 3 points. The magic number for the Roots was 4 coming in. So now that magic number is actually smaller for Phoenix than it is Oakland. Ricky, I think this Phoenix team, is in a position where you said earlier nobody wants to play them. This Roots team is in real danger now of falling out when we never thought that would be possible.
Yeah, you just look at the different directions both of these teams are going. Phoenix Rising, the mentality to go into New Mexico, who were the #1, to find a way to grab 3 points, and then to come into Oakland, which will always going to be a tight game. They get another 3 points, and the Oakland Roots, they tie at Memphis on a 1 through a set piece, and then they lose again at home. For Gavin Glinton, it's going to be a massive week of training, massive week in terms of his messaging to the side. And if you're the Oakland Roots, when you get going again, you need a response. You need one quickly.
That'll do it for an 8-match day in the USL Championship. Come back for 2 more tomorrow. It starts at 4 Eastern, Rhode Island hosting Loudoun, and then at 6 Eastern, Birmingham hosting Vegas. Thank you for joining us this evening. Oakland Roots and Bart want to make sure you get home. Visit bart.gov/planner to plan your trip now. For the crew that makes this possible, the broadcast partner Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malvis saying so long for now. Phoenix Rising come on the road and take all 3 points from the Oakland Roots. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.